Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Yeah!
It is Hump Day! Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We have a jam-packed show. We're going to get to Baker Mayfield's comments from yesterday. We're also going to get to day 2 of the hearing from Deshaun Watson and the NFL. By the way, this is taking place in Delaware. The league wanted to keep it out of New York and out of the spotlight. They didn't want all the cameras.
Aren't you guys Delaware haters last time I checked? You guys
Not Delaware haters.
I think it was
We're
Vermont
just like,
or New Hampshire, right?
What is Delaware? What is it? What is it known for?
I mean, nothing.
Now it's known for a hearing. That's
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
Hey, Skip Holtz is here from the USFL.
There you go.
And that's where we're going to start. So just a quick note to the viewer.
Yeah.
When Skip walked into the studio, he said, finally, I get to live my dream.
This is the job
I've always wanted.
That's right.
Sit around, this is all I do in my spare time anyways.
Listen.
Sit around and talk sports.
Dad was pretty good at it.
No, Dad was really good at it.
Yeah, but Dad had to dress up. On ESPN, they had to be dressed up.
Yeah.
Here, we don't have to dress up.
Now, look, win, Rocky, win.
That's it. I'm ready to
Play
go.
baseball.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Casual.
It's good.
Great to be here.
So before we get to Skip, who is coaching the Birmingham Stallions in the championship game, which will be Sunday over in Canton at Hall of Fame Stadium, we have a sponsored segment that is sponsored by the USFL. It's King of the Land, right?
It is. It is King of the Land,
Explain
brought to you by the Pro Football Hall of Fame Village. Get your tickets for the USFL championship game in Canton on July 3rd right now. Tickets on sale currently at halloffamevillage.com. King of the Land, we always change one rule. Today, this is Anthony's rule. Anthony suggests that if you celebrate before you score a touchdown and get tackled, so you don't score, you celebrate and don't score, your team loses 10 points.
Do we need that rule? I don't know that I've ever seen that happen. I've seen a guy fumble on his way to the end zone. We're celebrating too early.
Right, that would count as a 10-point loss or whatever. It's a stupid rule. No offense, Anthony, but it's a stupid rule.
Well, it's never going to come into play. I can think of Leon Lett, who got the ball knocked out of his hand.
Yeah. By the way, I'll tell you a time it happened. Which was that?
BB.
Yeah,
That's right.
That's right. He closed all that.
One of the dumbest things I ever said early in my radio career, and I've said a lot of dumb things, Ed Reed was once showboating after a pick.
Yeah.
And he had the ball knocked out of bounds, and I went crazy. This was early. He was probably like a rookie or a second-year guy. And I'm like, they should cut his ass. They should get rid of him. The guy's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, you're right. That's a bad take.
Yeah, it was a terrible
take. That's a real
take.
bad take.
Yeah, it was in Utica, New York, so there's about 18 people listening. But I'll admit it, I said that.
Anthony, you know we love you. Can we get a shot of Anthony or not? So the folks
we're dealing with a bunch of things back here.
Let's not get crazy, Jay. Let's not get crazy.
I'm sorry, but we're not taking your rule.
That's horrible.
Your father looks like he's a person that doesn't deal well with showboating in the end zone. Does he have a rule about that?
Well, if you do it, you won't play.
Very simple.
It doesn't take points off the scoreboard. He takes your butt off the field, puts you on the sideline.
He takes points off your own personal scoreboard.
Yeah, right.
Lou suffered no fools. Lou just, if you were foolish in any way, you were so deep in his doghouse.
His comment was always act like you've been there before. Just
makes perfect sense.
Act like you've been there before. Toss the ball to the official and let's go on and let's keep playing the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't care if players celebrate once they're in personally. I mean, I prefer the Nick Chubb method. When Nick Chubb scores a touchdown for the Browns, he just gives the ball to the official. That's it. Because it's not a big deal to him to score a touchdown.
Barry Sanders used to do it
Barry
that way.
Sanders all the time. Yeah.
You know, I think Emmitt Smith wasn't big on
But we don't need any penalties. There's too many penalties in the NFL already, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Let's go.
I mean, there's so many rules that you could change.
Yeah, that's not necessary.
Anthony, we'll still feed you and allow you to stay.
No,
We'll consider it. We'll consider it.
We didn't get any water. We have no water today, so he gets no food. That's it.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
I tell you, some of the new rules in the USFL, I think, have been really good.
What's
They've been
your favorite?
entertaining.
What's your favorite?
You know what? I like the three-point rule. The three-point rule, and if you score a touchdown, you have the opportunity, instead of kicking an onside kick, It's 4th and 12 on the 33-yard line, and you can go for it. And if you make it, you keep the ball.
I like
so
that.
when you're
Love
down
that
two,
rule.
When you're down 2 scores, if you have a really good offense and you're moving the ball and you're in a high-scoring affair, instead of kicking an onside kick, what's that percentage?
Very
like
small.
2%.
Now,
something
if
like
you
Especially
that.
now,
if you
yeah,
don't
yeah.
convert, though, does the other team take over right there?
Right there.
Which is
It's like
good. It's high risk, high reward.
high risk.
I love
because
that.
You score, you go for it on 4th and 12, you make it, your offense doesn't come off the field.
Have you tried that this year?
I have
personally?
not. I have not been
You
down.
haven't needed to.
I
You're
haven't
winning every
needed
game.
to. I mean, but what a great opportunity if you needed to or you're down
like that.
to have the opportunity to leave your offense out there.
Yeah,
I saw somebody went for it earlier in the year. They were down 2 scores, scored, went for it, and missed it by
Really?
that much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It keeps
Yeah.
games interesting in
They-
blowout situations.
That's the same thing with the 3-point play. So
Right,
all
love
of a
that
sudden, when
too.
you look at the board, you're down 18. It's a 2-possession game.
Yeah.
Because you could score, go for 3, go for it on 4th down, score and go for 3, and you've
So,
made
Coach,
it.
how do your fans feel? How do the USFL fans feel about the way the game has been organized now?
You know, I think they've loved it. I think that's been the response of the viewership, the way that they've turned out in Birmingham. I think it's an entertaining game. The product, I think the product is really solid, and I think the league did a great job of creating equality in the way that they did the draft, and we drafted by positions, and they snaked through. So at quarterbacks, you had 1 through 8, and then 8 through 1. So you got the 8th and 9th pick, or you got the 1st and 16th
Just
pick.
like fantasy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Just like,
sneak
and they
back around.
snake through every round. So in one round you'd have 1st, then you'd have 2nd, 3rd.
good,
so you
yeah.
might have had the 8th pick at left tackle, but you've got the 1st pick at wide receiver.
How did they settle on every game being in Birmingham?
Well, they just
Because I know some teams weren't pleased with that.
right. I kind of like
Right,
it. I kind of like it.
It cuts down on travel.
Yeah, I mean, being
Family likes
it had to be the hub model. I thought was awesome. I mean, for a startup league to reduce cost, you got to figure if you've got 4 games a week, that's $400,000 in air travel. You're spending $100,000 to try and charter a plane. That's $400,000 a week. You multiply that times 10 weeks. I mean, you're spending some money putting the hub and everything together. The other thing I liked about it was you not only got to know your staff, but I got to know all 8 staffs, all the head coaches.
Because you're all there together.
Because we all stayed in the same hotel. We all ate breakfast together. And all the players, and you got an opportunity to interact with all the players. I thought it was a cool idea. I think it's going to be great when everybody can take their place and go home. When everybody can go home and we can get into that. But for right now, I think to create the stability, it was a great idea and a great model.
And next year I hear that they're looking at maybe having 2 hubs. Maybe did I hear that?
I've heard 2 hubs. I've heard team editions. Fox didn't call me and say, hey, Skip, what do you want to do? They're not going to call me.
The league is official for a 2nd year.
And that's the big news. That's the good news.
And so, which is more than some of these other leagues have done in the last decade. The championship game, of course, you're playing Philadelphia. I believe you beat them by about 2 touchdowns when you played them the first time.
First time we played.
Are you worried about your team being overconfident since you beat them somewhat handily?
No, well, I mean, you look at it, New Jersey had won twice against Philadelphia
and then
during the
lost.
regular season and then lost in the semifinal game.
Right.
So I think Philadelphia's playing really well right now. They're doing some good things. We scored a touchdown late in the game to make it a 2-score game. But out of the number of games, the 40 games or however many games have been played so far this year, I think like 5 of them have been more than a 1-score game. I mean,
no kidding.
It's really, they've been really close. The product, like I said, the product on the field has been great. It's been a lot of fun to be part of it.
You know, Coach, we talk about all the time how there's different levels and different areas you can bring guys in, right? You guys are currently getting a pool of guys that don't make it to the NFL. Would you consider if you got guys in high school, kind of like the D League, right, or G League now, would you consider young athletes that maybe don't think college is for them coming straight to the USFL and playing and getting that experience and then kind of going to the NFL?
That's one of the rules that they put in place we really haven't seen activated. We're dealing with COVID and the number of players coming out and going to the NFL, but where the NFL is 3 years, I believe the USFL rule is 2 years. So 2 years out of college.
So you could get them earlier.
So you could get them earlier. So a young man could come out of high school and come to the USFL.
That's fascinating.
I think where this can go, there's a lot of venues we're talking about right now.
Because you could have, there are every year in college, there's anywhere from a dozen to maybe 24 players that everyone knows is NFL ready, but they have to come back for that 3rd year.
Right.
Now, the USFL would be an option, and also would bring a ton of attention to the league.
Agreed.
Because these players are all high-profile guys.
Exactly. Some of these young guys coming out, and the majority of people in this league right now, they want film. They all have a why. They all want to get back to the NFL. Some of them been in the NFL, practice squads. They're just trying to get film. But for that young guy, what a better opportunity than to compete against. I mean, when you look at it, Bo Scarborough from Alabama is our running back. You know, you look at, we've got a center from Oregon. You got a DB from Southern Cal. I mean, you look at, there are these players that were great college players from all over the country. And for a young guy to come in and play at this level, on a professional level, before he gets his feet wet to get into the NFL, what a great opportunity.
Think Trevor Lawrence. Everybody knew Trevor Lawrence was ready to go, and they made him come back. He looked great. I'm watching that.
Right.
Yeah, I would too, and I think a lot of fans would. We had an 11:40 out, and it's 11:39:20, so we have to say goodbye. But I want to say good luck to you, in the championship game. And also I want to mention to fans, the ratings were very good for the semifinals.
Yes.
The product is, it appears that this thing is going to stick around. And if you haven't checked it out, check out the championship game. If you're not doing anything on Sunday, flip it over. I guarantee you're going to be very, very impressed with the level of play, because I know we have.
On Fox.
Coach, thank you very much for joining us, and good luck.
Thank
Give us
you
a
for
good one.
having me.
We want a last-second victory
good luck. Good luck.
on a long field goal.
On a long field goal.
Yeah, can we get that?
We can get that done. We'll see what we can
great.
do for that. We'll take it. But I'm envious of what y'all do here.
Yeah.
Hey, you have an invitation to come join us
I
anytime.
love this. When this game's over, I may come back, just sit
There you go. Come on
I
in.
love this.
There you
This
go.
is
Very
awesome.
good. Very
Thank
good.
you all very much. Appreciate
Thank
you
you.
having me.
Coach, good luck. We're taking a break. The Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show is coming right back. Stay with us. Thanks.
Hey Cleveland, it's Adam the Bull. And if you love sports as much as I do, then you've got to be watching the new Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. But if you don't have 2 hours to watch it live or on YouTube, well, there's a podcast version, so you're in luck. Listen to it anytime, anywhere. We're doing things on this show that no one else is doing. We're getting crazy. Find out for yourself. Check it out wherever you get your podcasts.
What matters most to me is family. Sometimes you don't realize how important it is until you're away from them.
What matters most to Jay? His family. He is a big family man. What matters most to me? My family, my safety, your safety.
I think the thing that most impresses me about Betsy is her versatility. Give her any assignment that involves going in front of a television camera, and she's going to knock it out of the park.
What's new with Betsy and Jay? Weekdays at 5 on 3.
All right, we're back on this beautiful Wednesday in Cleveland, Ohio, the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. So we've got Len Barker, large Lenny Barker, coming in just a little bit. So we're going to keep the chair warm with the gopher. I think that's what is that what that is? Is that a
We
gopher?
are, yeah.
It's a gopher.
Gopher leaning.
The Caddyshack Gopher.
The Caddyshack Gopher. He's going to stay there until Len gets here. Len will be here in the next hour,
This
right?
guy's
Very, very soon.
Very soon.
This is Miles, man. Why don't y'all? He got a name, bro.
Miles, good to have you on the program.
What's up?
So let's talk about day 2 of the hearing. Yesterday, we didn't know. We talked yesterday. How long is this thing going to go? We know that now that it's at least going to be 2 days. There were reports yesterday that they expect this could go even beyond today. So perhaps
Mark
3
Maskey
days.
of the Washington Post said he expects it to
Several
go on
days.
for a while.
Yeah.
I think we all just assumed it would wrap up. It fit with the timing of it being announced the Friday before the 4th of July.
And it still might happen.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's 3 days, even if
Yeah.
it's 4 days, we could have that. So just quickly to sort of summate what we know. Not a lot of news was leaked about this, but there was one major tidbit that was leaked, and it was leaked to the Associated Press, and I'll get to that in a second. I don't think that was by accident. But the league leaked to the Associated Press that, quote, it's more likely to accept a 6 to 8 game suspension from Sue Robinson, who is the disciplinary officer, because it wants to avoid appeals, which could be a horrible situation for everyone. Very interesting. G. Bush, it looks like the league is blinking. Is that what we're seeing here?
Hey, listen, I think this is all part of the game. You know, when they talk about, hey, go ahead and take that little 1-year suspension, that was never going to be easy on the board. They understand this. And here's the thing. They may make a decision, but they want to make sure it looks like they're thorough. That's why when you look at 3 days, it's going to come out with some sort of judgment. No, this thing is a court proceeding. Like, I didn't think it was that in depth, But they at least, if they go 7-8 games or 7-8 days with coming back with a decision, at least they can come to people and say on both sides, look, we heard all the evidence. We heard both sides. He had an opportunity to come out here and prove his point or to say his bit. And now we come with this. The second thing I think is very important is they are well aware what the perception is. They are well aware that we said it a couple of days ago. Sue Robinson looks like she don't have no sort of power. Is this a figurehead? Is this something where
especially because this is her first ruling on a play.
First, right? And if they want to keep this intact, they want to keep this whole system intact, they can't come out the first day and the first time they have any issues and just write her off and say, oh, well, you count, but you don't count. And I think that's what we're seeing. And if you want to go extremely heavy on it, it looks horrible if you didn't come back and she says a year, and then all of a sudden you say, no, it's 8 games. I think you got to start off heavy first and then ratchet back.
See, you said you were surprised by like how serious a event is. It's funny. It's kind of like when you and I joined the show. We were like, oh, this is going to be some small operation. And then you and I show up here, and it's like all these big wigs. They're hiring coaches. They got all these kind of – and you and I were like, whoa,
What the hell is this?
is a serious operation. We're taking this really
got the nerve
seriously.
to be
This is a
somebody.
lot more serious than we thought. But this is all part of the grand scheme I believe in that the league, and maybe with Deshaun Watson's camp, I don't think Sue Robinson's involved in this, is wanting to look tough, and then eventually it'll be somewhere in the middle where they can say they tried to be tougher. But ultimately, now Mike Florio, I never missed a chance to rip Mike Florio, he wrote about this story from the AP. What's the name of the guy who leaked this?
Rob Maddie.
Yeah.
Maddie, thank you. So Rob Maddie.
I think
and
Maddie.
And so Florio's speculation was that the NFL just put this out there to con Sue Robinson, because if Sue Robinson, his theory is that Sue Robinson is going to be afraid that the NFL is going to go too hard, and so she's going to give no punishment, and then the NFL can't do anything. So the NFL is putting this out there to make Sue Robinson think that they'll let it be if she puts that there, which is stupid. She's not dumb enough to be conned by some nonsense from the NFL. I think that's ridiculous. I also think it was ridiculous to think that Sue Robinson wouldn't give any penalty at all, because it's clear that even if he's committed no crimes, it's clear Deshaun Watson has violated the rule about conduct, in terms of the league. His lawyers already admitted that. Rusty Harden has already admitted that. So there is going to be a suspension. And this got out for whatever reason, but I don't think it's to con Sue Robinson into thinking they will accept this number,
right?
And not try to appeal.
I don't give Florio's report any credence at all. The nugget here is what the AP is reporting. And Brad, I want you to address this because you do a lot of negotiating in your other job.
I'm sitting here bubbling. Right
I know
here.
what's fascinating to me here is that the commissioner is using the Associated Press to get his message out. And I think it's fascinating because you usually don't see football-related stories leaked by an AP reporter. They're leaked by Schefter, or Josina Anderson, or Adam or Florio, or any number of guys. Jay Glazer.
Right. The AP doesn't put out rumblings.
The AP doesn't.
Yeah.
No, they don't. So I think the league had an internal discussion. When we want to get our word out, who do we use?
Yeah, oh yeah.
So clearly, to me, it's a red flag that the Associated Press is getting all this information. They're a credible source. And I think that the commissioner, what he's doing here is negotiating backwards. Because also through the Associated Press, we heard last week that the league would settle for nothing less than a 1-year or an indefinite suspension. And now through the same source, they're saying, we'd be cool with 6 to 8. We just don't want the flamethrower that the NFLPA is going to bring out if they bring up the owners' cases.
Well, let me just jump in and just say this. First of all, it is, if you stand on the train track and look down the line long enough, you're going to see the light coming because it's coming to run you over, right? This thing has all the tentacles of getting as nasty as you think it's going to get, right? So if you're worried about a flamethrower, let me just tell you, the flame is coming, right?
Unless they find a middle ground here.
The one thing you're doing from the beginning is you're discrediting Sue Robinson, right? She's a federal judge. This is an arbitration.
Retired.
Right. This is an arbitration hearing.
But it's non-binding.
No, but the NFL is going to make its case, and in its case for the suspension, which it has to be a long, hard suspension, or else they look like they're soft on crime. So guess what they're going to turn to? Now they're McGruff because they got to be tough on crime here.
Sure.
Right? And on the other side, you've got the Players Association is sitting there like this, not having it. I'm gonna tell you why we're not having it, because you got this guy, this other guy. And don't forget about that guy, right?
Sure.
That you did
all owners.
That you did nothing to. And now you want to play heavy-handed over here. So it's going deep here. And I would just tell you, Sue Robinson's going to put him in a trick bag, right? Because she's going to lay out, she's going to hear this case like any arbiter should hear it, right? And at that point, when she hears this case, she's going to make a ruling and a recommendation. And I don't care what the NFL dropped out here saying we'll take 6-8, because I don't believe them at all, because they always have been their own worst enemy. Every time the NFL has gone under is because some owner or some owners have conspired together to put themselves in
so
bad
then you
light.
believe Florio's report?
I think that
you think that that's what the league's doing here?
I think they're trying to set the game. They've always tried to set the game. Right, and
But you think they're trying to sucker Sue Robinson?
They think they can sucker Sue Robinson.
Right.
They can't, and I don't think they'd be stupid enough to think that, though.
Sue Robinson's going to put them in a trick bag.
Let me throw you a hypothetical. I think all along, everybody that's associated with the Browns and even Deshaun Watson himself probably would have said from jump, if I could get 4 games here, I'd be thrilled.
Oh, my God, they
right?
would.
Everybody would agree with that.
Huge.
So
even
knowing that.
Jay, even 6. By the way, go ahead, finish your point.
Well,
and then
let's just start with 4. And the reason I'm saying that is because I think Roger Goodell, and this is the way he's run the league for close to 2 decades, he is a boss. And he usually gets what he wants. So my theory here is, I think he knows all along that the Browns and Watson would have been great with 4.
Yeah.
So he just floated the number a season or indefinite, knowing that the middle ground would please everybody.
Yes.
Well, I don't think.
And I think that's what we're seeing here.
I don't know if you can please everybody in this year.
There probably is a number where everybody's happy.
Let me just ask you this: does Goodell really run the league?
Absolutely.
Or is he the minion for the others?
Well, no, he runs the league, but his sole purpose is to make money for the
Be
owners.
clear, he's the minion for the others.
Yeah, but
because
he's setting policy.
Every time he's tried to jump bad, they have hit him with a hammer, right? They've laid an anvil over his head every time.
So here's his thing. I'm gonna go with him. He raised me McGruff. I'm gonna come with another high school or educational term. You know, we all had it. The NFL Players Association is daring. Dare, bro. I'm daring you to keep going this year route, this indefinite route. Because here's the thing, he knows this. He is tied up right now because he has one of his own going through investigation right now. Dan Snyder is. Why you think he keep telling him I ain't showing up? Them subpoenas is coming. I ain't coming up there.
They've already issued subpoenas.
The reason he's not coming up there is because it's bad timing. Because you get a juxtaposition. You can judge Deshaun Watson, Dan Snyder.
Yeah, Dan Snyder should be in jail for refusing the subpoena.
For the record, Dan Snyder's yacht was spotted off the coast of St. Florence, France.
He's avoiding
nowhere near the country to get subpoenaed.
So when you talking about it, Roger Goodell is like, man, they got me on this one. I want to be tough. I want to show him, but I can't put the gavel on.
I think the negotiation last week, I think this, and we talked about it, I think the script for the play was written.
Yeah.
Roger told the NFLPA, I got to look like I'm tough. The NFLPA said, we're not accepting a year. We won't even go near a year. You will see us in court if it comes down to a year. I think they, in the absence of Sue Robinson, hammered out an agreement, and I think it's going to be 8 games.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to know sooner than later.
There's a big difference. You know, we've talked a lot. We've thrown out 4 and 6 and 8. There's a big difference between those 3 numbers. Now, obviously, a year is huge, but like the difference between 4, 6, and 8 is all big. Those 3 levels. We need to spend more time on that. Not right now, but real quick. The first 4 games, in terms of your opponents on paper, very winnable games.
They'll be favored in probably all of them.
Right. Games 5 and 6, you play the Chargers, really good team, and then a mediocre team, in my opinion, in New England. But if this goes, now the difference between 6 and 8 is huge. You know what the 7th and 8th games are?
7th and 8th get real serious.
Baltimore, Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's
huge. That's a big difference between 6 and 8.
Yeah.
Because those games with Jacoby Brissett, you're probably losing.
And the Browns have looked at the schedule. I think they would love to get 6.
6.
And the leagues, it was interesting to me that in the league's leak, they said we would accept 6 to 8. It's interesting.
That's a huge difference.
But Watson is saying he's saying that I've already served a year. Isn't that
no? He could have technically played last year.
He could have played. It was through his own doing he didn't play last year.
Well, they're saying they're using that as we want 0 games.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Well, no, that's ludicrous because he didn't play last year because of his own decision.
Let me tell you what else you're missing, and it's just not the games, right? The games are one thing. You're looking at a power play here between players and owners.
No question.
This is the train that's coming down the track.
Yeah.
Who got the power here, right? You've got players on one. The owners have always been in control. Say, I've got the power, and I know we got Len Barker coming on here, and we've been in unions. I've been in unions. I know how the game is played. Now it's a power play here because now you have the players on the other side. Some of them are like this. We're tired of this, right? This shenanigans. We're gonna get to some level playing ground here, and that's where this is headed. And you know, the one thing about the worst entity you could have here is a group inside the dispute that is willing to go to the limits, right? All the way to the limits. And I think the players, that's the worst fear.
And the NFLPA played that hand.
They're like, we will go
want to get tough,
we will go here.
We want to open the other cases that involve the owners.
And in this case, they can play that hand without it being a work stop. It's not like a work stop.
No, it's not.
Where the player's already.
This has been coming.
Yeah.
It's been coming. It's been building. And it's just unfortunate for us that we're riding along in the ship, right? But this has been coming. So if he had been in Houston, it still was coming. It still was coming. So what is going to happen here? And so I'm not one that believes at the end of the day, the NFL is just going to say, oh, we did our thing and it's great. The deal is cut. We're moving on. I don't believe that. No.
But Brad, I think they might have to because you just said they're facing something different this time than anything they've ever faced.
The owners here, it's not Goodell. It's the owners. They're owners that live in other places that feel like we're going to stay winning.
But there are 3 owners that desperately want this thing to be settled before it goes into the public view.
If they settle, the owners look weak.
The problem, they stay collectively together, right? I may not like him, but I'm in the ship with him, so I'm riding with him. I'll keep my mouth shut.
Do you want all of his dirt aired in the public?
No, because they have to stay in a position where they're winning. I can't let you be the winner.
Brad, if the 600,000 email from the Washington investigation become public, they're not winning.
Well, here, have they always proven to be the brightest when it comes to outcomes?
No,
some of them think
I think they know.
But Jay, what would those emails change? Like everybody hates the owners. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people hate the owners. Everybody despises Daniel Snyder, but it's not.
Bull, the fact that the only thing we learned about the 600,000 email, was that John Gruden uses racist and homophobic language in email.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? There are things in those emails that the NFL does not want you to see.
Here's what
I guess you're right, but ultimately, what would it lead to?
I'm suing you. That's what it leads to.
Dan Snyder losing the team, number one. So one of the 32 is going to be out of his current position. And you just said it.
I'm suing you.
How many people are going to come forward with lawsuits after we find out all the other stuff that was said in these 600,000 emails?
Yeah, I mean,
by the way, they know what's in those emails.
Yeah, they do.
And the fact that the NFL has already started negotiating down, that's a sign of weakness. They were 3 days ago. The word was they were insisting on 1 year to indefinite. Today, the word is we'd be cool with 6 to 8.
And let me just give you this. Let's not act like. There are people who haven't forgot about the CTE stuff. There are people that haven't forgot about the Kaepernick stuff. There's people that ain't forgot about Gruden. After you continuously go down this rabbit hole, is one after another. You can try to play the role, but all it takes is one person to say, listen, this is systematic. They've been running this way, and they got immunity. They've been operating under immunity.
It feels like that's never going to change. I hope you're right.
Inside the group, there's always this group inside the Players Association. There's a group that wants to always cut the deal and make it hunky-dory for everybody. We just cut the deal and be done with it, right?
Right.
Then you have the flamethrower group, right? Then you have the apathetic group that just like, I'll go with anything, right? But then you have this flamethrower group that I don't care what it is. We're going to throw the flamethrower at this thing because it's not, we don't like.
Yeah, but the gun's back in the holster from the NFLPA. If we hear 6 games, the gun's back in the holster.
Right.
They're not firing those bullets if they don't have to.
No.
But I think they showed their hand.
Right.
They said, we're willing to go there. And all of a sudden, the commissioner is negotiating down from a year or indefinite to 6 or 8 games.
But here, I'm going to just tell you.
I think the script is written.
You don't buy that the owners are really negotiating down?
I don't listen, the NFL owners have proven to be the worst. Yes, they have, right? Because they're always conspiring against something. I think you can just go back and check their own history. The other thing I would tell you, it has Sue Robinson in a precarious position because she's a woman. And if she don't come out right on this thing, she could look like she's soft on crime.
And it's her first ruling.
And
if they cut her off at the knees, it is a horrible look.
The league could look bad if they overrule her. She could look bad. You're right. The women. It's a very tricky situation.
I think these are all actors playing out a script, and
I like that.
We're just
I felt that way too. We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
okay. We're going to talk more about this, and we're also going to come back to Baker Mayfield. Had some fascinating comments yesterday that may not be as pertinent today because right now the way the wind's blowing, we'll see Deshaun Watson in a Browns uniform on the field this year.
Get me going.
But his comments
said nothing about coming back.
We're going to talk about those, but Len Barker's here, and I got to tell you, for any baseball fan of the Indians, now Guardians, that's my age, Len Barker will always hold a very special place in their heart for what he did. I think it was May 15th, 1981. Am I right, Large Lenny? May 15th, 1981. Perfect game. Last no-hitter in Indians-Guardians franchise history. That's almost mind-boggling when you think about it. It's been that long. Do you want to take a break, or do you want to just bring them on? We're going to take a break. When we come back, Len Barker will be sitting where the gopher is right now.
All right, his name is Miles.
Miles the gopher is out. Len Barker is in. What a trade.
Swap out.
We win on that one.
Hey Cleveland, it's Adam the Bull. And if you love sports as much as I do, then you've got to be watching the new Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. But if you don't have 2 hours to watch it live or on YouTube, well, there's a podcast version, so you're in luck. Listen to it anytime, anywhere. We're doing things on this show that no one else is doing. We're getting crazy. Find out for yourself. Check it out wherever you get your podcasts.
What matters most to me is family. Sometimes you don't realize how important it is until you're away from them.
What matters most to Jay? His family. He is a big family man. What matters most to me? My family, my safety, your safety.
I think the thing that most impresses me about Betsy is her versatility. Give her any assignment that involves going in front of a television camera, and she's going to knock it out of the park.
What's new with Betsy and Jay? Weekdays at 5 on 3.
Dun, dun!
Welcome back to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. I remember what I was doing May 15th, 1981. If you're old enough, you probably remember where you are, you were when Len Barker threw his perfect game. It is so good to see you. Thanks for coming by the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. When you hear May 15th, 1981, obviously it was a night you'll never forget, but what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Us winning the game.
It was 1-0, right?
3-0.
3-0.
Us being
okay.
in first place, where the Cleveland Indians weren't in first place very often back then.
Yeah, so that was a big deal.
That was a big deal. Yeah.
Guys, we talked, with Joe Charbonneau recently. I don't know. Did you see when Joe was on, by the way?
Yeah.
He was great. He broke the whole studio, but it was awesome. And we played at a charity softball game a few years ago. Len played and Joe played. And I remember asking you about the perfect game, and you said the two things I remember you saying was that it was brutally hot that day. And I think, if I remember correctly, you said that you weren't feeling great coming into that game.
No, actually, it wasn't hot. It was 42.
It was raining, too, wasn't it?
I screwed that up.
Typical Cleveland weather in May. And I'd been feeling good all year. And what happened was I was late getting to the ballpark because I was picking my brother up at the airport. And normally, I get there an hour and a half before the game. I didn't get there until like 45 minutes before the game.
Wow.
So I had to put the uniform on, rush out, and start throwing right away. So it was kind of a little out of sync.
Wait, even an hour and a half before
that's so
a day you're that seems tight. Like it's very close.
Yeah.
Was that commonplace then?
Yeah, back then when you were a starting pitcher, you could come in when you want. But I used to go out and watch the other team take BP so I could look at the hitters and see how they're swinging with that. Yeah.
Yeah, now it was against the Blue Jays, right?
Against Blue Jays.
And they had some bats in that lineup.
They had some boppers in there.
Yeah.
a
Was
lot of young guys.
there one moment, I'm sure there was, because most no-hitters have that moment, where you think, uh-oh, it's over. Was there one play that that was put into play that you thought was going to be a base hit? Was there that exceptional defensive play that saved the no-hitter?
Yeah, Tommy Verizon made a play up the middle, got the ball and beat Alfredo Griffin. One real quick.
Fast runner, too.
Fast runner. Yeah. Kuiper made a great play to the hole, and he's been coming back from knee surgery, so he wasn't as quick as and he made a great play.
Yeah.
And Toby Hare dove into the stands, caught a fly ball.
That's what I remember about it. Yeah,
but,
about the no-hitter.
I only threw one changeup in the game, and it was to John Mayberry. He was a big bopper. Yeah. And he hit a bullet and almost killed Kuiper, so I didn't throw him any more changes.
That was the last you saw that one.
Yeah. So 1981, I remember because I was about 3 weeks away from graduating from high school, and my father used to listen to every Indians game at the time on the radio, sitting in his favorite chair by the front door, and so he would have it on, right? And so I always remember the name when they would say Lars Lenny Barker, right? And so when you see him live, you see why he's Lars Lenny Barker.
Big man.
I want to ask you this, Len. At what period of the game when you're throwing a no-hitter, right? When you're rolling it.
Perfect game. You guys keep saying no-hitter.
Well, it's a perfect game.
No-hitters are commonplace now.
And the
Perfect
pitcher
game
knows
is so
the
different.
difference, too.
So when you're rolling, when do the teammates run away from you and say, don't talk to you?
True.
When does that start?
It started in the 7th inning. I was sitting by myself, and everybody, there's 24 other guys down there, and they're all crunched up in the corner. And I looked down at them, and I said, I'm not superstitious, guys. You can, but of course, a lot of them were.
Yeah, right.
So they were all in there, and then in the 9th inning, the week before, Charbonneau was playing left, and Dave Garcia was going to take him out. Bylevin was throwing a no-hitter, and he was going to take him out, and he took him out, and Larry Littleton missed the ball on the lights. So he comes up to me and he says, I'm taking Charbonneau out. And I said, if you take Charbonneau out, you're taking me out of the game. So he let Joe in there. And Joe was a good outfielder. He could get to the ball. And, he, of course, he was a great hitter at that time.
Were you what's in your mind? What's going on in that 9th inning? Were you extra nervous? Were you calm? Were you hearing the crowd?
I was pretty nervous. Well, the crowd was. Well, it was 7,200, but by that time, a lot of people had come down.
Yeah.
And there was probably 10,000, 11,000.
Yeah,
This was a big crowd for us back then. Right. And I walked out, picked the ball up, and I dropped the ball, and I almost fell over. So I got a little nervous.
Oh wow!
Yeah. And then I started throwing, and I was all right. And of course, they put a pinch hitter at her right away to try to disrupt you.
Yeah.
And I struck him out on 3 pitches. So
Nice.
So I got back in the groove.
When you're in your best, when you're throwing smoke, what's the heat number you're throwing at?
I was probably throwing 97, 98 in that area.
Now, if
In those days, that was
with the
very
old
good.
guns.
Here, I'm not a baseball guy, but if you've ever been in a batting cage where they throwing the machine is throwing 80 at you,
it's real.
It's real. It's real.
God.
But
it's
Len,
real.
your curveball was good that night, wasn't it?
Yeah, normally if I throw 120 pitches in a game, I probably throw 30 curveballs and mostly fastballs. But that game I threw 65% curveballs.
And a lot of out pitches were curveballs.
Yeah, a lot of. Well, there were 11 strikeouts and all of them were swinging. I mean, these guys were hacking. They were trying to hit the ball.
Well, let me ask you this. You talk about pitch counts, right? You say you throwing 130 pitches, back then. Why? Where did it change? Why is it? Obviously humans haven't evolved that quick. But why do nowadays you rarely see guys if they have a no hitter going into the 7th inning? Guys
keep taking out of games,
out, man.
Yeah.
You hate to see it as a fan, man.
It's all about money. They pay the starters to go 5 or 6 innings, and they got a middle reliever they're paying $2-3 million to, and then they got a setup guy. And then they got the closer. That's what I.
And the investment too today.
I threw 197 pitches in a 9-inning game.
Are you kidding me?
And then I came back on 3 days rest. The game. Yeah.
Well, in the old days, there was no bullpen. In the old days,
that was just like washed up guys.
We
right?
had 9. When we broke from spring training, we had 9 pitchers on the staff.
That's
now
insane.
teams are up. Now teams are mad because they had to cut down to 13 pitchers, right?
Yeah.
But they need their 14th pitcher. Yeah, I mean, in those, I feel like when I was a kid, because I was 10 when you pitched that perfect game, I don't even remember watching games ever thinking about a pitch count. It was certainly never on the TV.
Well, they never talked
never
about
even
it on
knew.
the game.
No, you never had one. The only time you would have one is if you were injured and you come back, they put you on a count.
Sure,
for the
that
first
makes
game.
sense. Yeah,
And then after that, they they let you go. I mean,
It seems like guys are more
geared-
injured than ever now.
We were geared to go 9 innings. That's you're
was
looking
it.
down in the bullpen and said,
Yeah.
well, it's either one of those guys or,
Yeah.
or
And
me.
This must drive you crazy, Len. Today, there's a stat called a quality start.
Yeah.
And 6 innings, 3 runs is a quality start. I mean, is that absurd?
Yeah, it is absurd. I mean, I pitched with guys like Fergie Jenkins. Who's an excellent. He's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And Bylevin and Gaylord Perry.
Oh, yeah.
You know, a lot of the big time pitchers.
So what do you think about today's pitcher compared to your era?
I don't think they don't hold their velocity as long.
Yeah.
They do a lot more. I'm a college coach. I'm a head coach at Notre Dame College, and I see my guys before they warm up for a game. They go out in the outside and they're throwing long toss, long toss, long toss. And by the time they hit the 4th inning, their velocity's down 5 or 6. They're throwing all their bullets before they get out there. I mean, I stretched 20 minutes, got on the mound, and started throwing, and that's how I was taught by, like I said, Bylevin and Fergie.
Did you have what was your pregame bullpen like?
Pre-game bullpen, I'd stretch for 20 and get on the mound and start throwing. And I'd throw probably 50 pitches. I didn't leave the mound until I was hot and everything was working.
I always laugh at the pitch count because if you figure because a pregame bullpen is anywhere from 30 to 50 to it's the comfort level, but you also are throwing 6 to 8 between every inning.
Right.
So if you're in your 197 pitch start, you threw over 300 pitches that day.
Yeah, yeah. And then I had to come back on 3 days rest. And I talked to Sam McDowell. You guys know him. He told me he threw over 250 pitches in a 9-inning game.
My goodness,
they
how in the world?
Yeah.
Back then, they didn't care. You know, it was a total different thing with the owners. They had control of everything until we started going into. We went on strike.
It's crazy that anybody could get to 250 because he's getting shelled if he's throwing that many pitches.
Well, Sam would be a guy who'd walk 10 or 11, but strike out.
So high pitch count to every hitter.
I'm glad Len brought this up, right? Because we were talking about it in the other segment. So I always felt like the Major League Baseball Players Association has the best union out here. Right?
Yes.
They've always been at the forefront of making things happen. So what you just made a reference to that. So when you guys finally made a stand, do you think how much do you think you advanced the game for the players?
Oh, we advanced it to where they're at the salaries they are now. They would have never had that if we hadn't done that. Guys lost their careers because they made a stands. For the team.
And the NBA players followed the baseball players because we were looking around like, man, we getting hosed over here, and they seem to be getting everything, right? And so when we made a stand, because based on the stand that they made, then you start to see progress on the other side. You start to see some leveling of the playing field.
When you sign those contracts, too, we signed. They were all guaranteed.
Right.
It's not like the football players. They'll sign $35 million and only $20 million.
Unless you're Deshaun Watson.
Right.
This is the first big money guaranteed,
yep.
which is insane. And now that's where the NFLPA is going to start going.
Len, do you think the players today appreciate what the older players did?
I think a lot of them don't even know who the older players are.
You probably
You know, I would say maybe 30%, 40% know the game.
Yeah.
I mean, I followed all the guys back. I know, starting back in the 20s all the way up through.
Sure, yeah.
You know, it was just part of being baseball. You know, that was what you did. So why wouldn't you know the guys that came up?
Yeah.
You know, to help the sport.
Yeah, it's funny because, like, even the kids, I coach a Little League team. We talk about it all the time. And even my kids that, like, really love playing, a lot of them don't watch. They don't watch the
There's so many distractions now.
Yeah.
All the video games, all that stuff.
Len, what happened to the ball that Rick Manning caught for the final?
He caught it, gave it to me, and then I signed it to the best center fielder in baseball, and I gave it back to him.
So he has it?
He has the ball, yep.
No kidding.
Wow.
Yeah. He ran down a lot of balls for me, and a lot of other guys.
He was my favorite player. He patrolled center field. He at a Gold Glove level, particularly early in his career before the back injury.
And he wasn't a bad hitter and base stealer either.
No,
he did
good all-around player for sure.
Now, do you look like these guys, these Guardians guys keep coming back in here in shape, bro. This is the second one. Now, you look like you still good in some good shape. If they put you in the gun today, what would you throw?
Probably 75, 80, something like that. I throw BP to my sons and to the college kids once in a while. Yeah.
How old are your boys?
They're 17. He's going to be a senior. Actually, they just won at Chardon. They won the state football championship.
Nice. Chardon's got an unbelievable
He was on that team.
program.
He played football, and then
they
he
won the
baseball. State baseball.
So what position?
He was a linebacker and a third base, first baseman.
Did he ever fiddle around with pitching, or you didn't?
Yeah, he pitches a little. And I have another one that won in 2020. He played baseball and football, and he was a running back on the state. And he scored 2 touchdowns in, the championship
Congratulations.
game. He's at Seton Hill right now. He didn't want to come play for his dad.
What about the younger one? Are you going to get the younger one?
I'm working on him.
He's recruiting
Tell
hard.
him if he's smart, he'll make the right choice.
He's a big boy, too. He's 6'4", 215.
Wow.
Damn.
And he's smoking the ball right now. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fun.
I want them to make their choice.
Yeah.
Right.
So they've done it. He made it. Seton Hill's a great baseball program.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
What do you think? What do you think about the state of the game today?
I think they're destroying it. I mean, the things they changed. I mean, you got a guy on third base and they give him an intentional walk. I remember back in our day, the guy on third base, the pitcher would throw a wild pitch, you score a run. I mean, they're giving things up like that. 2 7-inning games in the major leagues. That's that's not major league
No,
baseball.
I know. I hate it. I hate it.
And they're putting
what about
more-
the ghost runner, which luckily that rule is going away. But
That's good. I mean, you play extra innings. You play extra innings.
yes,
you know?
why change the game because of the situation? It doesn't
And
make sense.
They're talking about time limits. The time limits, everything they've done to change the time limits, it's still, you're playing over 3-hour games
Right.
anyway, so it hasn't worked.
It's the pitching changes are a big problem. That's part of the problem. That's causing the games to be long.
Yep.
All the constant stepping out of the box that could clean it up. I do love that I've been for a long time that they went to the DH in the National League. Are you okay with that?
I'm okay with that. I think they should have done it a long time ago to make it fair for both leagues that way.
Right.
And that also extends guys' careers.
Absolutely.
Too.
Now they have more options. You know, a guy like Nelson Cruz who signs with Washington, he could have never played in the National League.
We don't get an opportunity like this. I got to ask these questions.
Yeah.
Pete Rose, Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Think so.
Yes.
All right.
What about the steroid guys?
What about Bonds and
Clemens, Bonds,
all of them?
Sosa?
I think, guys made mistakes. I think after a certain amount of time, they should reward them for what they've done.
Yeah.
Especially, I would just make it higher standards for those guys, right? Like if you're borderline and you're on steroids, you're out.
They're out.
You think the writers got too much say in who's in and who out?
Yes.
Who's out?
Yes.
The writers have to be fair to the writers, they have no say on Pete Rose. They're not allowed to vote for him.
They don't have anything.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, on the steroid guys, they do.
I think they should make it more baseball guys that are playing the game.
Yes.
That know the game, and seen them play, and all
I
that.
agree.
They should.
Well, no one knows it like you guys know it. Nobody.
Because we've seen them play.
And on the respect end, it's almost like the media is punishing the players because let's face it, the media was asleep at the switch while this was going on.
No, they enjoyed it.
Sure they did.
They enjoyed Bonds going deep.
But in '98, when they're gathered around
McGuire going deep, they enjoyed all of it.
McGuire's got a tub of Andro in his locker, strategically placed. And they go, hey, Mark, tell us about this product you're using that's allowing you to hit all these home runs. Oh, that's Andro. You can get it at any GNC. And they were off the trail.
Yep.
But there are former players who also said they wouldn't want guys in that took steroids.
No, Johnny Bench says no to Pete Rose, I believe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of hits. That's a lot of hits.
It is a lot of hits.
It's what, gosh, 40, what,
They should have banned him from coaching or managing anymore because he did bet, but his playing career is obviously Hall of Fame. So yeah.
You know what? Was there ever any evidence that he bet against his team? And I know that the reverse logic is well on the nights that he doesn't bet for his team to win.
I don't think you can let him manage anymore. I don't think it should affect this Hall of Fame.
I hate it for Pete. I grew up an Indians fan. I didn't really love the Reds. They were winning while the Indians were losing. It was tough to watch. But I don't think anybody played the game with more passion.
No.
And let's face it, the
Charlie
goal
Hustle.
for everybody that's a hitter is to do what? Get a hit. And by that measure, no one was more successful than Pete Rose.
That's right.
And he's not in there.
I want to go
now
back
Bonds
to the
and Clemens.
steroid thing. The owners knew about what was going on.
Absolutely, the owners
They
knew.
knew what was going on because baseball ratings were down, and that was good for baseball. So
Absolutely.
The
let it
turnstiles
slide.
were singing because
The
people were
Sosa
coming out to
McGuire
watch
thing
home
was
runs.
one of the best things ever for
It
baseball.
led the evening news every night in the month of
it was
August
crazy.
and September.
They would cut out of games and just show those guys get
ESPN was
at-bats.
showing here's Sosa's fourth inning at bat live.
Right.
And it was good for the game. And to your point of the owners knowing, how could they not? Here was the home run record of 61 by Mara set in 1961.
Right.
37 years later, not once is it busted, but twice and destroyed by 10%.
Yeah.
And that was the holy grail of baseball records. Aside from, I think, Hank Aaron's career mark. Everybody could tell you that, the record's 61. And then it's broken 5 or 6 times in 4 years. and
Right.
the owners didn't realize what was going on.
When Brady Anderson started hitting 50 home runs, I said,
Wait.
That was the short
I
sign.
played against him, and he went from hitting 9 or 10 to 50 some.
And you're like, what is happening here?
So, Len, what do you think about the Guardians, where they at this season and how they're playing? And
Right now, I think
Francona's job.
They're playing pretty good right now for a team that doesn't really have a legitimate star except for Ramos. He's top, and Beaver.
Yeah.
But they're putting it together and they're playing hard and they're winning games.
You mentioned Ramirez there. I mean, he is a shining star on this team, no doubt. He is such a good. You look at him, he doesn't look like the prototypical great baseball player, but he just does everything well.
Right. Well, Tony Gwynn didn't look like the.
No, he didn't. You're right. Good
and
point.
He was one of the best.
He was
hitters
chubby
ever. Yeah.
Len, who was the toughest hitter you ever faced?
Rod Carew.
Oh God!
What a hitting machine.
Yeah.
He had that unorthodox, very open stance.
Loved it.
And he hit every pitch. Everything.
Did he really?
He'd go with the ball. I mean, one year they were getting on him in Minnesota when he was playing there that he didn't hit enough home runs. So he hit like 30 home runs, and his average went down 10 points. Instead of hitting 350, he hit 340.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they were going to cut him. They cut his salary.
Oh my
Did they?
Yes. Yes.
That's insane. He was one of the
nuts.
best pure hitters.
And he got blackballed his last year when he was a free agent. He hit like 330, and no teams took him. And
Why?
I don't understand it.
Well,
because he was in when we were on those strikes and all, and they hold things against him.
I told you.
Baseball
You
owners
remember
collude
Kurt Flood?
way more than
They
football.
got to stay winning. They have to stay winning.
Yeah, of course.
Kurt Flood lost his chance to play anymore,
Yeah.
but he stood up for all the
He
players.
did.
That was amazing.
He was the OG.
And I will just tell you, in all the sports, the owners, and some I know them, some are good people, but they have to stay winning. They will, and then they will punish. They'll try to punish to the end. Yes, they will.
And then even after Rod Carew, remember when Dawson wanted to leave the Expos?
Yep.
Right? And he said to the Cubs, hey, I'll sign for anything, basically.
Right.
And all the teams were, and finally they had to sign him. But that was crazy times.
You mentioned that Rod was the best hitter in the game when you were playing.
Yeah.
Pitchers know this. Was there a guy that wasn't really an all-star, but just had your number? A guy that just, for whatever reason, put the ball
there
in
was
play
probably
against
more
you?
than just one guy.
Who was the guy that you were like, oh, not him again?
Mario Mendoza.
Below the Mendoza line, hitting 190.
Yeah.
You always had to watch out for those guys that weren't hitting good because you think you could blow a fastball by them. And they're major league hitters. They're going to hit
Sure.
it. Yeah. I was pitching against, in Detroit, I had a 1-0 lead going into the bottom of the 8th. Jerry Turner come up. He's hitting 176. I walked the guy, and I figured I could blow it by him, and he took me deep. We lose 2-1.
Wow.
Through 130 pitches, only one bad pitch. And,
Wow.
But that's why you had to concentrate on it, because they're major league players. Just like football. You never know who in the NFL who's going to make a play. They can, that's not a star, but they make the play.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right? And then they become a star.
How rewarding is coaching for you?
Oh, I love it. I love seeing these guys. Actually got a shortstop that's probably going to get drafted.
Really?
In between the 5th and 7th round this year. Yeah.
No kidding.
Is he
phenomenal.
from the area?
He's from Springfield on the other side of Columbus.
Okay.
Do you find young players coming to you because of your experience and want to be under your tutelage? Do you find that because of your experience in Major League Baseball?
I've been finding a lot of pitchers that want to come there and do that.
Yeah.
And of course, Charbonneau is my hitting coach.
That's right.
So they're coming
What a
there.
staff. Can we sit in on some of those staff meetings?
Yeah, you guys would enjoy that.
If they had the ability, obviously when he got hurt and had all those injuries, you don't have the medical that you have now.
Right.
Had he been able to get healthy, had they had the science they have now, how good do you think he would have been?
He would have continued to get better and better and better.
Yeah.
But
What a
he
shame.
didn't strike out much.
Yeah.
Back when we were playing, if you struck out 100 times, you would get back sent down to the minor
Yeah,
leagues.
right,
Now
sure.
the guys are swinging. And
That's a good year if you strike out
No,
100.
they encourage you. They want you to.
They
do, you have
want
a,
you to-
do you have a favorite Joe Charbonneau story?
I got some, but I can't say it. And believe me, they're all true, too. Joe's a great guy.
We played
Oh,
true
my
or false
God.
with them, and we threw out some stories that were we didn't know if they were mythical or is it, and just about everyone.
Well, he told
said,
us.
yep.
Did he tell you about the Detroit? I can tell this one because it's not a bad one.
Remind us. Maybe
We had
he
a
did.
team party. I walk in and he's out in the ledge on a window, and he says, "Mark, bring me a beer," and I hand him a beer, and I look down, and we're 55 stories up, and there's no ledge. His feet aren't on any ledge. He's hanging out there like this, drinking beer.
God.
That's a true story.
He did not tell us that.
No, he didn't tell us that.
Oh, my God,
He
that's
told us about the
crazy.
time he broke into the zoo in California and
Yeah.
tried to ride a rhino.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is classic.
Oh, my
Len,
God.
thank
Len,
you
thanks,
so much
Len.
for coming
I
in.
appreciate it, guys.
There's a ton that we want to get to that we didn't, so we hope you'll come back.
Yeah, anytime, guys.
All right.
Appreciate it.
That's
Len,
awesome. It's
thank
great
you.
to hear. Len Barker,
Legend.
the great Len Barker, the last Cleveland pitcher to throw not just a no-hitter, but a perfect game as well. Len, thank you very much.
40 years.
Thanks, guys.
We're taking a
Appreciate
break.
it.
The Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show is coming right back.
Hey, Cleveland, it's Adam the Bull. And if you love sports as much as I do, then you've got to be watching the new Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. But if you don't have 2 hours to watch it live or on YouTube, well, there's a podcast version, so you're in luck. Listen to it anytime, anywhere. We're doing things on this show that no one else is doing. We're getting crazy. Find out for yourself. Check it out wherever you get your podcasts.
What matters most to me is family. Sometimes you don't realize how important it is until you're away from them.
What matters most to Jay? His family. He is a big family man. What matters most to me? My family, my safety, your safety.
I think the thing that most impresses me about Betsy is her versatility. Give her any assignment that involves going in front of a television camera, and she's going to knock it out of the park.
What's new with Betsy and Jay? Weekdays at 5 on 3.
Recognize that feeling? It is the feeling of being together, enjoying the company of a familiar face, and sharing moments that matter to you, to me, to us. What matters to some could impact all of us, especially in a place like Northeast Ohio. Here, stories are shared from east to west to south. Stories of perseverance, of family, of love. If a story brings us together, it's what matters most.
Hi, my name. We are back on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Big thanks to Len Barker. It's always great to have Indians of my youth come in and talk about the old days, and we could have spent another hour with them, and I'm glad to
he
hear
told me
he's
a
gonna come
really
back.
quick funny story off the air that I cannot share, but
Damn.
Oh my God.
All right, in the next break or after the show.
Yeah.
We told you earlier that we were going to talk about Len Barker, that we're going to talk about Baker Mayfield, and we're going to do that. We're going to do that right now. He talked yesterday at a camp in Oklahoma, and he talked to a reporter there and talked about a lot of different issues, but obviously the one that I think most fans here were interested in was he was asked about has the ship completely sailed in terms of a possibility that he may play for the Cleveland Browns again. Stevie, if we can, let's roll that first clip and then we'll talk about it on the back.
Could Baker Mayfield ever play again for the Browns if that
I think it's been pretty obvious the mutual decision on both sides is to move on. You know, I'm thankful for my 4 years in Cleveland. There's a lot of ups and downs and a ton of learning experiences that you know, I'll forever keep with me. You know, teammates and friends and relationships that I'll have for a lifetime. And you know, just flew in last night from East Lansing, Michigan for Drew Stanton, who's my mentor. He was a quarterback there in Cleveland when I got drafted. And just relationships like that, you're just so thankful for. So, I mean, the support staff in Cleveland, the people of Cleveland, it's a great sports town. So I'm thankful for it. And there's no resentment towards the city of Cleveland by any means. I think for that to happen, there would have to be some reaching out, but we're ready to move on, I think, on both sides.
So before that happens, there has to be some reaching out. Brad?
Talk to him, OG.
What do you think of that? There was a sly smile in there, by the way, before he started talking.
I have to say this, right? Now, yesterday's program, a big shout out to Josina because she's spot on where I am. Let me be clear. Baker, you have it backwards. They have you under contract, right? All they have to do is exercise the contract, right? And if they do, they're going to put you in a very precarious position. This is really about one thing. It is about Baker Mayfield understanding where he is today. He has a contract. If he wants to continue on and be a professional quarterback here, sometimes you have to get out of your own way. He can walk back through the door and do what's necessary. I don't care if Watson has a 6-game suspension, 8-game suspension. In order for him to carry on his future where he wants it to be elsewhere, he's got to toe the line here. And all he has to do is check
if he wants his money.
But they don't want it. They don't want him here.
Adam,
they don't.
Just go back and check the multiple sports around. The multiple players have played this game, right? And you end up losing every time. The only one that doesn't understand that is him. But you go ask
I don't
anybody
disagree
else,
with you, but I don't think the team wants him here either.
The problem is the team is going to could be put in a very precarious position. So are you going to go forward with Brissett, or are you going to go forward with Mayfield? You've got a small window of opportunity here because once the window opens, Adams, it begins to close.
That's very true.
So you have a window here. Are you going to cut your own nose off to spite your face? I have a guy. He's not going to be my ultimate guy.
Yeah.
But in this one instance,
and you're going to pay that guy.
to
to play for you or to play for someone else. You're going to pay him.
The other thing he does not understand is this, Jay. In order to go forward in this league, he's got to show the others that he's mature enough to be a professional. And every time he comes out and make those little asinine statements, we've moved on. Moved on? They have you under contract. Only the one that can move on is the Browns. They can say I'm moving on.
And they haven't done that yet.
But you are at the whim of the Browns.
I'll tell you what, Ben, there's a thing, and I'll just use this as a quick example. I've been in this game for 12 years. I ain't never been full-time doing nothing. You know what? I had to do an internship for a year and work for free. You know what? I got 2 degrees, communications and marketing, and I had to go back to broadcasting school. For 12 years, I drove from Canton to Cleveland. You say, G. Bush, you rambling? What does it got to do with Baker Mayfield? The point is, when I wasn't full-time, I didn't just say, hey, you know what? They ain't putting me in. They going to have to reach out to me. No, I got to get him. I got to get on my job. I got to keep going over here. And luckily, after 12 years, somebody said, well, you know what? Let me call this kid up. Let me give him a shot. Let me bring it, because he looked like he want to work. At the end of the day, he's not doing himself no favors. Even his people, you should say this, Jay. Just tell him that the answer to that question goes like this. Hey, look, I'm still in a contract with the Cleveland Browns. I know they're going through
That's the smart answer.
Right. I know you're going through some stuff with Deshaun Watson, and we don't know what that's going to lead. But as long as I'm part of the Cleveland Browns,
I'm ready to go.
I'm willing to go.
But he's not. But once again, it's what I keep saying. He has never shown maturity. He will not show maturity, and he's not going to do it now.
Well, let's role play. You're Baker Mayfield, and I'm the reporter.
Yeah.
So is there ever a chance that you play for the Browns again, Baker?
Absolutely. I'm still under contract. Until and if I'm traded, I'm ready to play ball. Let's go.
That's the answer.
I would have shown up at OTAs.
Well done.
I would have shown up at mini camps.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I would have done. But
and
that's
it shows
not
maturity.
him.
It shows maturity.
I have to ask this, right? Because sometimes in your own professional camp, your agents and everything, you can all get into the groundswell and be sucked into a hole that you didn't even see coming. My other question, where's his family? Because my father would have been the first one. You can ask my brother. You can ask my father would have been the first one to say here. When my first year in Chicago, I was just drafted. I'm waiting for this contract, right? And the salary at that time I think was $400,000 in '86, right?
A lot of money.
And so my father, who was a postal worker for 35 plus years, right? It was September, and I still hadn't signed a contract. I was laying in my bed in Columbus at Ohio State because I wasn't doing nothing. I'm waiting to go to Chicago. My father said, call me in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, and said, why haven't you signed the contract? He was perturbed. Why haven't you signed the contract?
He worked every day.
And he was like, he said, I said, Dad, you don't know nothing about it. He stopped me right there. He said, let me tell you something. I may not know nothing about what you're talking about, but let me tell you something. I go to work every day. Right? Mm-hmm. The money they talking about giving you, this family had never seen any money like that. What are you talking about? Get yourself together. And so somebody has to be the voice of reason. Right? Yeah. And it's probably somebody in his own family.
That's a good point.
Right?
He did grow up with money, though. I wonder if,
not this kind of money. Not $18.8 million a year.
He's going if he stay on this page, going to be soon to be without it.
But he wouldn't even have to follow. Just sometimes they always say, man, don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. Now listen, you might not even have to mess around and even have to go back to Cleveland because the Browns
Which he won't because they're going to trade him.
Because the Browns will tell you, no, stay where you are. But guess what that does? it would be 7, 8 teams that said, wow, man, this dude, you hear what Baker Mayfield said?
He's ready to play. Let's go get him.
Every outlet would be breaking it. Every news would say, well, what are the Cleveland Browns doing? He's saying he's willing to go back. Look how mature he is.
Even the Baker haters like you and I would give him credit for
I had
that.
to give him props. He'll have 7, 8 teams that wasn't even eligible before. Say, go bring this kid in real quick.
To that point, when Josina broke some stories about Baker last week, I found it interesting later in the story. She said that Seattle would be open to perhaps signing him to an extension, which would be ideal for Baker. Wouldn't even make this year an audition year.
Yeah.
So in other words,
That's
Seattle
crazy.
says, we'll trade for Baker, we'll rip up your deal, we'll give you 3 years at 35, 45, whatever the number is. But Josina also wrote that the team is in the process of gathering information about Baker Mayfield.
Yeah,
now,
right.
that to me is an indictment of Baker Mayfield.
No doubt.
Because he's been in this league for 4 years.
Right.
Yes.
And they're gathering information on this dude.
Yeah.
He is who he is. And he
no doubt.
reminded us yesterday with that answer
He's
who he is.
He has a body of work that I think that if you look at it and being a very unbiased person, he has a body of work that says he should continue here. He undermines his own self with these little statements, right, all the time, right? And that's the problem, right? And he will soon find out here, I don't care how much talent you think they have.
Right.
If a team thinks that you're a problem, they're going to veer away from you.
To your point, Brad, if you're a great player, then people put up with anything.
For a while.
Right?
For a while.
A great player. But he's just a decent player. He's solid. He's a solid middle-of-the-road quarterback. But if you're middle of the road, they don't want to put up with any of
the
this
fact
stuff.
that they're still gathering information.
Yeah.
Like,
everybody has a shelf life here. Do you remember when the Sixers tried to walk Dr. J out of Philadelphia?
yeah.
Tried to walk him out of Philadelphia to the Clippers, right? This is when the Clippers were like awful.
A different time, but yeah.
So Jordan ended up where?
Washington.
Right.
Yeah.
And the Bulls were on the top of the heap. And they were like, oh no, you're done, right? So everybody has a shelf life.
So
let's hear the next
play
clip.
the next
Yeah.
clip from Baker. This is him talking about the uncertainty of his future.
Is it a little unfair that you still don't kind of know where you're going or what's going to be happening?
I think I got frustrated with it not happening before, like mini camp and all those things. But that's the stuff that's out of my control, and so let those things happen and fall into place. And so right now I'm just controlling what I can and enjoying this.
Baker looks like he's dealing with a cold.
It's not completely out of his control because if he had performed better, if he had a better attitude.
Well, that's in the past, though.
Right. Well,
There's nothing
okay,
he can
true.
do now.
Nothing. You're right. Nothing he can do
It's out of
now.
his
But
control.
had he, but to some degree, the way every time he talks, he hurts his trade value.
Well, every time he talks, Bull, he talks like he's in control. He's yet to realize he's not in control.
Well, no, he just said right there, it's out of my control.
because he said, you have no control, Jay. You have
No,
none.
I know, but he just said that.
His control
He said it's out of my control.
control is going to the bank 2 times a month. That's his control, right?
Well-
so the thing for him is he has to be able to demonstrate again that he is wise enough and smart enough for someone to invest further into his future.
Right.
This is not Oklahoma. We're not in Sooner Land anymore, right?
No.
This is about here, dollars and cents. And if he does not do what is necessary, do you think that somebody's going to throw a ton of money at him knowing that he's a wild card here? That's why you have players in the league that say, do not bring him over here. Do not bring him over here. The guy out of Charlotte, do not bring him over here. Carolina, do not bring him over here.
Yeah.
Like it's, we talk about it's like interviewing, right? Everybody's taking interviewing classes, right? They ask you, what's your biggest, what's something you got to work on, right? They ask you all these questions. So why'd you leave your previous employer? All these things regular people got to deal with. Every single time he gets on camera, he should be understanding that is an interview. He's saying, look, man, there's some things that I did in Cleveland. I got to learn about the way you got to lead a team. Hopefully at my next stop, I'll have an opportunity to learn from those mistakes, rebuild, rebrand myself, and just to get in there and learn from what I've done.
I think Baker Mayfield has a victim's mentality.
Oh, it's 100%.
He is constantly talking about how he's been egregious,
Yeah.
how it's not fair.
Right.
It wasn't fair at his first college stop. It's not fair here in Cleveland. So I think sometimes it's hard for a person to move forward if they're focused on the rearview mirror.
Absolutely.
Just move forward.
I can give you 18.5 million reasons why it's fair, right? Because those single-dollar bills that are coming his way, it's
You
fair.
aren't kidding.
It's very fair
Yeah,
to me, right?
But I wish he would drop the victim's mentality because it's a bad look.
It's a very
terrible.
business.
It's always woe is me with him.
I know.
So
I wish he would just come out and say, look, Cleveland had a decision to do in their mind, go through with an upgrade at the most important position in the sport. I'm going to prove them wrong. I don't know if that's going to be Seattle or Charlotte or some other team, but it's now that's behind me.
He doesn't even have to say
I'm
that.
going to take control now of what I can.
What would happen, Jay, if he just showed up, right? He doesn't have to say that. Say that when you're walking out the door when it's over, right? You don't have.
I think we're going to hear a lot from Baker Mayfield.
The question I wanted to see really asked from Soonerland there was this: will you report if the Browns say report? That's all I want to know.
Yeah.
I don't need to know the side story.
That would have been a good question.
It would have been a great
side story. I want to know, will you report if they say report?
Yeah.
Or
then we can assess where your mental state is.
If they talk about needs to be some calls made, would you reach out to them first?
Well, he made it clear there needs to be some reaching out. So he's not reaching out to them.
So
he's expecting the Browns
No,
to
but
reach out to him.
Brad, even though I think there's zero chance he's coming back, Brad is ultimately right. The Browns don't owe him a phone call. He is under contract.
And so why?
That's ridiculous.
So his thought process. Here's the thing: if they knew Baker Mayfield was going to be a solid citizen in terms of not making no big commotion, what's the problem with you calling like, listen, AB, I know you're trying to get me up out of here. I get it. I'm trying to figure out the best way to expedite that. And I believe the best way to do that is to help rehabilitate my image and come in and see me around
That's
the guys.
right.
Can we do that?
If anything, it would be, Baker making the call and saying, hey, guys, I'm willing to practice. I'm willing to come to OTAs. I'll be there. If you trade, if you're not trading me, or if you're, trying to build.
They don't need to get down on bended knee.
No.
Right.
To beg him to come to training camp.
He should be aggressive and say, I'm ready to go.
I'm not foolish enough to not believe that there has not been anybody on the Browns team, players, I'm just going to players, that have not had this conversation with him. Just come on back in here. They're playing around.
Yeah.
Well, they can't keep him out of the facility. Through the NFLPA, he has to have at his disposal the same resources.
And Josino insinuated yesterday that the Browns have had these conversations.
So stop running to Lansing. Stop running to Soonerland, right? Just say, listen, that's all good, right, on the weekend. How about on Monday through Friday, you show up, put the pressure on Cleveland.
Yeah, if the Browns refuse to let him, then it's on them as the bad guys.
The question is, what has he done this offseason to become better? Like, it's famous what Peyton Manning used to do, what Tom Brady currently does now to play at 45 years old. What is Baker Mayfield doing this offseason, his fourth offseason since becoming an NFL player? What is he doing to stay ready? Roll that bite.
A lot of, pulling people together and scrapping it together down there in Lake Travis, having some routes going on. And I've been working with a guy named Jeff Christensen, who's extremely knowledgeable about fundamentals of playing quarterback, and been throwing with Danny Amendola, Cole Beasley, and a couple other guys just around the area, and it's just been great. Obviously, if I was focused on not having a team and not being able to do that, it'd be pretty miserable. But I'm just working on getting better as myself, for myself, and then whenever this all happens, then learn the playbook and get the guys down as soon as possible.
The call is unacceptable.
The call is not coming.
I think he was talking not from the Browns. I think he was talking about the call for the trade.
You know why that comment's unacceptable?
Tell me.
Because he's only throwing to white guys?
No. Well, there's only like 5 of them. All of them's down there.
Best joke in 37 shows.
Now I'm going to tell you this.
Where they had in Lake Placid, where they had, I don't know.
Why? That's bare minimum. That's a lot. I'm a football guy. You talk about you throwing with people at Lake Travis. You need to be with bona fide throwing coaches. You need to be down there working out, getting your body in the best shape it can. You should have that stuff down pat. That ain't going to get it done just throwing with Cole Beasley and having fun. Come on now. Like, you got to be down there every single year. They ask Baker, are you working? Hey, Tom Brady is over here working. You got Lamar Jackson's over here working with the top names. Get down there, and you're not being smart about it. If I'm working with a quarterback coach, you know what I got? I got that on tape. I got that on YouTube.
Did he say he was working with a quarterback coach? I thought he said he was working with a quarterback coach.
I need the top of the food chain, and I need it on tape, showing people I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
Well, let me ask you a question, because this is not what I've not heard this. What's his health like? Is he healthy again?
I don't assume that that's going to be an issue because it was his non-throwing shoulder.
Well, but
to
I mean,
begin with.
I still
He
want to
was
know,
asked that question,
is
Brad,
he
just to
healthy?
fill you in, and he just gave a real quick answer. He goes, "I'm good, ready to rock." Was
See,
pretty much
I
his
gotta
answer.
see it.
But he said
I
that
gotta
during the
see it.
season.
Yeah. Well, the expectation is he will be ready to throw.
Well, but you know what, Jay?
And play.
It would be nice if his team that is paying him would say that, right? No, he's healthy and
Well,
ready
Brad,
to go.
don't you know he had the worst injury in the history of football? That it's going to take him a long time to come
Petty
back.
LeBoul.
He is Petty LeBoul. Can we get that font? Petty LeBoul.
Petty LeBoul. Worst injury of all time.
So, look, I think the injury is not a factor at all. I don't think anybody, if it was to his throwing shoulder, yeah, it would be a concern, but I don't think it has anything to do with,
Here, I saw the performance last year. I beg to differ with you. Right?
Well, he was playing, but Brad, he was playing with the injury last year.
Well, I'm saying.
I'm sure he'll come back and that injury will not be a factor.
Just tell me it's fixed.
I need an OBJ
we know the surgery
film.
was a success. He has said that.
You got to be out here on tape now. YouTube, I tell people, how can I get on? YouTube. We on YouTube. Everybody need to be on YouTube. And you need to show people I'm ready. So, everybody go to YouTube to see what your highlights is. Oh,
Yeah.
you see that zip on the ball? Baker down there ready to go.
People get so excited about that nonsense.
Yeah, but you know what?
Yeah.
Seattle isn't going to say, oh, my God, you see that video of him on YouTube?
No,
Make the trade. Make the trade.
But we have to see because
They know what he can do.
So I've got
They know.
I've got a kid playing at she's playing at the University of Maryland, right? And so she's coming off a great freshman campaign. But she's in the gym this summer. You think they're not eyeballing her? They're like, oh, you well, ho.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm not seeing
putting in the work.
I'm not. Well, I want to see if you put in the work. I want to see if you're making any progress here,
Yeah.
right? Because we cannot live on what we did before, right? And the only way you can see that, to G's point, is you have to be around people that can assess and get you to where you need to go. You cannot do that in Lansing.
Yeah, but I don't think we're talking about a guy who's getting ready for the draft. I don't think we're talking about a guy that comes in with baggage.
We're talking about getting better. You get better in the off-season.
In fairness, we don't know exactly what he's doing.
We don't
To be
know
fair,
anything
we don't
of
know
what he's not doing.
We don't know a thing.
Yeah.
No, but I don't even think.
What we do know
what's
is this.
Joe Burrow doing?
No,
we don't know.
What we do,
I don't know.
What we do know is this: that I'm aggrieved.
Yeah, I'm a victim. I'm a victim.
That's what we know.
Stop mistreating me. Feel sorry for me. I don't feel one bit sorry for him. He's going to be paid almost $19 million this year.
Right. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you what my counselor told me. He said, G. Bush, you know what? You got a divorce. How many times you been engaged? I said 3. So you've been engaged 3 times and you've been divorced 4. I said, yeah, man, but this last one was crazy. She said, at some point, sir, that's on you. It's not about them. It's who you picking to start with.
You've been married 3 times?
No, engaged 3 times.
Oh, engaged 3 times.
Married once.
Well, at least you were smart enough to figure it out while it wasn't right before you got married.
But the counselor said to me,
eventually it's on you.
Eventually, that you got to look at your decisions you are making. Baker Mayfield has been at Texas Tech. He done been at Oklahoma. He came here to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Now he's out here. At some point, we just want him to say, look, man, that's on me, man. I had an opportunity. I didn't get it
It's never
done.
on him. He never takes the blame.
He needs some counseling. Who's your counselor?
And by the way,
need to tell
Jay,
him who
to
your
your
counselor is.
point, you said we don't know what Joe Burrow's doing this offseason. Is there anybody doubting that Joe Burrow's working his ass off?
No, but that's so he gets the benefit of the doubt because he went to a Super Bowl?
Yes,
No.
yes,
That's
he
not how
does.
it works.
Yeah, he does.
No, it doesn't. If you're going to question what one guy is doing without knowing what everyone else is doing,
hold on.
The guys that put out there what they're doing are the Tom Brady's.
But Baker admitted that he took things lightly after his rookie year.
He did say that. Yes.
And
well, he thought it was going to be easier. Is what he said. He thought it was going to be easier. We don't. Here's the thing with the NFL and NBA and Major League Baseball.
Yeah. Okay.
It's on you if you show up first day of camp and you're not ready. And it's only you're going to be the only guy that knows it for day 1. Mm-hmm. By day 2, everybody in the organization is going to be saying, Brad didn't get Brad did nothing.
But that's your track record, though.
Since you brought
he's never shown up, though, and not been ready.
So let me just tell you that I agree to you to a point. So my story out of Chicago, we just had come out of the Eastern Conference Finals, right? I had played well. And I talked myself out of Chicago. I had Jordan go into the Bulls management and tell him that I wanted to be moved. He did me a favor. He said, you want me to do that? I said, I want you to do that, right? So they trade me weeks later to Seattle for B.J. Armstrong, right? I go to Seattle. I'm getting married that summer. You know, I did nothing that summer.
Right.
I showed up in Seattle in the worst freaking shape.
And they knew it.
And they knew it because when we went and played, we went shirts and skins.
Oh,
Hey,
no.
make sure Sellers is in skins. I want to see what he's got under the hood.
That's the
Got a little
old
pot
That is
belly
old
going
school
on.
right there.
By the time I recovered, Jay,
I
it
know.
was too late.
Yeah, no, hey, listen. And so
Somebody's got
it's
to
up
be there
the player.
checking. Somebody
And
has to be, because you got to hold yourself accountable.
Right,
Now
right.
the question is he able to hold himself accountable?
We didn't see him running or doing anything other than throwing footballs, but physically, he looked fine. He's not heavy.
Yeah.
He looks fine. That doesn't mean that he's been putting in a ton of work,
Right.
but he's not.
So it's not
letting himself go.
It's not the look. It's the repetition.
Right, we
it's
wanna
the
see
skill
him-
development.
right.
It is that, and you only get that in by showing up at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I'm working to this time,
Right.
And that's what I'm doing. And it is methodical, and it is
It's-
every day.
I think
It's a habit.
I think what Brad is saying is he got to work like he ain't got a job. Like you got to work like. So if this is me.
Because he essentially doesn't have a job.
I like to market
Yeah.
myself. I'm telling Tom Brady, hey, listen, Tom. I want to come down here. I want to film something with you. I want to throw with you, bro. I want to get down here. I want to go on the road with Peyton. I want to be on a whiteboard with Peyton Manning. Hey, Peyton, listen, man. I want to get better cerebrally at the line of scrimmage. Can I come down here and do my thing? When you do those type things, what it does is it gives you goodwill. It opens doors. Some people not going to like you.
It would inspire Seattle to say, I want to sign him.
And
I
the
don't buy that
problem too, though,
for a
is
second.
Baker always talks as if he's this great, accomplished, proven vet, and he's not.
I don't
Yeah.
think that he doesn't need to put a tape out to get
No.
Seattle to
What I'm
sign
saying
him.
is it's not the tape, Jay. It is you're in the air. You're showing me that you are.
Yeah.
It is showing me that you are about your craft.
I would imagine that if Seattle, and they said they're investigating, they're doing more intel on Baker Mayfield. They've had talks with Baker. They know. They've had talks with Baker's camp. They know what he's doing. They're not going to make a move, especially if it includes an extension. They're not going to bring this guy in and give him more years if they don't believe that he's fully committed, not just to his craft, but to this
Let
team.
me ask you a question. Do you think they take any validity from a third-party source that they trust? Somebody else to put some eyes on them? They say, hey.
Sure, but they're going to do their, like the Browns should have, they're going to do their own investigation.
So if I
and they should.
have a person that I know well for a long period of time,
Yeah.
and you're in an environment where they see you,
That's a
right?
part of it.
Yeah.
And they say, hey, what did you think about that kid? He said, that kid was spot on.
Yeah.
That's a
Then-
part
then-
of it.
Then I can trust that.
But Brad, they're not going to, on the word of a scout from San Francisco.
No, I'm not saying
They're not
this
going to.
is-
So
Right.
they're going to. Hopefully, they'll do their due diligence. They'll talk to all the people in the Browns organization that they feel comfortable talking with. They'll talk to teammates. They'll talk to former teammates. They'll also talk to
Guys.
Baker, and then they'll make their collective decision.
This won't be the last time we talk about it. We got to move it along, right? But
Yeah.
Baker needs. I forgot what I was saying. Let's move
Let's
on.
just go,
Deshaun
let's
Watson.
clean up Watson because
Just
we
lost it.
started down the Watson road, and I think
Oh,
there
yeah.
was still some meat on that bone.
Oh, real quick, Baker is. It would be insane for the Seahawks to give him an extension. That's what I was going to say. Sorry, go ahead to Watson.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, I just want to clean it up.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about Deshaun Watson. The one thing we didn't talk about today that we touched on yesterday was grading this trade. Obviously, it's incomplete. We don't
Yeah.
know.
That's another one.
But
Okay.
based on what has to happen with Sue Robinson and the league for you to still say it's still worth 3 number 1 draft picks and $230 million guaranteed dollars?
I'm gonna start off with that immediately. One thing I've been hearing all over: it's a disaster if he's suspended a year. It's a disaster if
I
he's
talked
suspended
about
a
this
year.
yesterday. Yeah. Go ahead.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah, I know.
ludicrous.
It's nuts.
Matter of fact, you got to understand, Deshaun Watson is actually the same age or a little bit younger than Baker Mayfield.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be 27 years old by the time he's done with his year suspension. You talk about the 3 number 1 picks. You got a guy that's now under asset, and when he gets the year, it's done. Good. You go ahead and move on. But now you got a guy, 27, 28, 29, 30.
But
31,
G. Bush,
32.
everybody else's contracts
I get that. I get that. I understand that. But what you talking about is the alternative was letting those contracts expire, because if Baker was here, that's not happening. Like, you're not going to win. They made the decision that you are not going to win without a top level quarterback.
Right.
And I call it the Joe Burrow rule. Joe Burrow is now in your division. You could act like it was cute and they went to the Super Bowl, but now he's young and you got to deal with him for 5-10 years. And
More than 5.
Thank you. So my thing is, if you ain't got a quarterback running the ball and all that other stuff, guess what? That ain't gonna work.
So you still, even if he's given a year, you're still giving up 3 first-round draft picks and $230 million.
He's worth that.
Well, I'll tell you, most NFL execs are definitely not of that mindset.
I would say that that's just the cost of admission to the party.
Yeah,
right? That's all.
Yes, if we knew he was going to be.
Well, here,
go ahead.
I think we're all taking it from a different standpoint because I'm on record saying this to you. That I think the Browns have considered that in this entire equation. I think the contract is set up so that they had a worst-case scenario built in here. So I think that they have already considered that.
So you're fine. If it's a year, it doesn't affect the way you look at the trade.
This is the price of the party.
And, Bull, I know where you are. Let's do it. Give him 4 first-rounders.
If I knew for a fact that he was going to be suspended a year, would I have maybe been able to get him for less? Yes. Maybe I give up 2 first-round picks? Yes. But am I saying it's a bad trade if he's suspended a year? Definitely not. It's only a bad trade if they don't win with Watson.
Yeah,
which they will, in my opinion. I'll be shocked if they don't. Now, we could argue whether he has to win a Super Bowl
or
get consistently deep in the playoffs.
They won with Baker Mayfield. That wasn't enough winning.
No, I'm not saying one win.
Winning.
But if he wins 7-8 playoff games, but they never win a Super Bowl over a 4-year stretch, I still think it was a good trade.
$230 million guaranteed, richest contract ever, 3 first-round draft picks.
Jay's my guy, right? I love Jay, right? But Jay, I got to ask you, we were winning? What is your definition of winning?
Winning season.
No.
No.
Hold on. Listen.
We won a playoff game.
I want you to listen to me. You know where I've been.
I know where I've been.
There's winning,
right,
and there's people playing at winning.
And I'm pointing that distinction out. Winning isn't enough with Deshaun Watson.
When I say,
and I don't want to hear 5 years down the road if you won 5 playoff games, it was a great trade. This is an all-in trade, guys. If it doesn't end in a Super Bowl, I'm sorry, it's a failure.
My question to you
I'm not in this party to be invited.
No, my question to you is, were we really winning?
Brad, irrelevant.
No, I give you Let me answer your question.
It's very relevant.
Let me answer what you're saying. If they don't win a Super Bowl with Deshaun Watson, it's a disappointment. Huge disappointment. Okay. But I wouldn't necessarily say it's a bad trade if they're consistently going deep in the playoffs. If they get to the Super Bowl and lose a Super Bowl, I'm not going to say it was a bad trade. It could be not a bad trade, but still, ultimately, if you don't win the Super Bowl with him, it's a disappointment.
Let me ask you
There's
this.
No doubt.
Has there ever been a trade in this franchise's history bigger than this one?
No.
No.
Has there ever been a trade in league history bigger than this one?
Yes.
Name it.
Herschel Walker.
How about Herschel Walker?
And what did that lead to?
And losing.
I brought that. Listen.
Losing.
No. They won 3 Super Bowls. They won 4 Super. How many Super Bowls did they win after the Herschel Walker trade?
Right.
So listen, Brad. The reason I bring up Herschel Walker.
Okay.
It is the only trade in NFL history bigger than this one.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I defy you to give me another.
No, I give you that.
What did that trade lead to the Dallas Cowboys? They were 1-15, guys.
Right.
What did that trade lead to?
So
them winning championships.
1-15.
3 of them.
1-15.
Okay, so
1-15. And who came to town?
A lot of people came to town.
Keep coming.
But Shay, that's the opposite of this trade.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is, because the winning team is the team that got all the draft picks.
Right. But we gave up we gave up to get him.
Right.
We were the ones with the risk reward. Nobody in Houston is saying, this trade's going to lead to a Super Bowl.
Right.
Nobody's saying that. When this trade was made, this was a Cleveland Browns trade.
Let me ask you this.
The Texans had to get rid of him, and they knew that.
Jay, 6 years from now.
By the way, the Texans are doing backflips over what they got for him.
And guess what?
And they'll waste those draft picks.
And just like Jadeveon Clowney, they drafted him on. He's no longer the team.
6 years from now, okay, let's say he's suspended this whole year. 6 years from now, they've gone to the playoffs 4 out of 5 years with him. They've gone to the AFC Championship 3 times. They went to the Super Bowl once and lost. You're going to say it's a terrible trade?
I'm still going to say the trade didn't net what it was supposed to. We didn't make this trade bull to go to the playoffs.
Agreed. But you wouldn't say it was a terrible trade on that scenario.
I am, yeah.
Terrible?
Yes,
to me, it's a terrible trade if they win 1 playoff game in 4 years.
You're giving up 3 first-round draft picks.
And that's irrelevant, too. It's all about would you have won a Super Bowl
otherwise. And here's what else you've done.
Yeah.
You've completely forever changed the pay structure in the NFL.
Great. Who cares?
But that's irrelevant.
No, it's not irrelevant.
Who cares?
Because that's the new world that the Browns are going to have to play in.
But why do they
can
care?
afford to play in it.
That was
no, they can't.
But why do they
We're
care?
$42 million under the cap right now.
But why do you care?
Why do you care?
The price of the admission is the game. The game is the game. If
So you're good with just getting in the game.
No, what I'm saying.
I think that's a
Nobody's
loser's
good with
mentality.
it, but there's a big difference between a disappointment and a terrible
No,
trade.
I think people in this town are this, right? Sometimes, Jay, we just want to be there. We just want a shot at it, right?
Yeah, I've been there.
I don't think that's good enough. I agree with Jay.
That's the loser's mentality, Brad.
Hold on.
That's the Chicago Cubs mentality.
No, I don't
Chicago
understand
Cubs
it.
became the lovable losers.
But hold
And
on.
Bull, you know that.
No, but I didn't want that. I wasn't okay with that.
You're a New York guy. Go ask them in Chicago if they like it.
You don't understand what I'm saying here. Sometimes I'm paying the cost of admission because I want a shot at trying to beat it.
And this was the only way to do that?
Yes.
I'll tell you,
No other team has ever done that.
Hey, I'll tell you what a loser mentality is. Saying we should stay with Baker Mayfield because we want to playoffs.
that's exactly-
That's a loser mentality.
I'm not
Yes, it is.
advocating that's what they did. I'm not advocating for.
But there are fans who say that. Who say they should have stayed with Baker because that's a loser mentality.
Bull, you're missing the point. You're arguing, but. This isn't a but discussion.
What are you advocating for?
I don't care about Baker
What are you
Mayfield.
advocating for?
What I'm saying is this trade, this is what we're talking about right now.
Yes.
How this trade will be graded long term.
Yes.
As a Browns fan who has watched 3 years out of 4 us be the bridesmaid just in the AFC, okay? We didn't even get to the Super Bowl. We were the bridesmaid in the AFC. So we've never gone where every other franchise but a handful have gone. And we're a cornerstone franchise in the NFL. I'm not in this to get invited to the party. I don't care about an invite to the party.
That's what. Hold on.
And that's not the cost of getting an invite to the party.
Hold on. People can't have it both ways. It's either we're gonna sit here and talk about that he's the best since we've had since '99. He led us to a Super Bowl against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Unless you telling me
Playoff win.
Playoff win.
Yeah.
Hey, playoff win against the Steelers. That was the bar. People
No,
telling
it's
me.
not.
People told us.
It's not the bar.
People
He's
every
been lauded
day.
for that one playoff win.
They totally talk about.
That's not the bar here, guys. The bar.
Yes.
So if you're an NFL GM of a team and you say it's our goal to get in the playoffs
but
and
we're
win
not
a game,
saying that, Jay.
that's not the bar.
But you're saying it's a bad trade
There are
if they don't win
fans
the
in
Super Bowl. I don't
Cleveland
agree
that
with
have
that.
said this is a big deal. The reason it's a big deal is because it didn't happen for 30 years.
Yeah.
So is it a big deal? Yes, but it is not the Holy Grail. You have to, in sports, 31 teams end the season with a frown on their face.
That's right.
One is left with the smile.
Yeah, absolutely.
One. Your Bengals don't have it.
No.
They don't have it. Go ask Cincinnati. You cool with what happened last
No,
year?
I'm not.
No, nobody's saying that.
But Brad, you kind of are.
No, I'm not.
Because if
Listen,
you say that
Jay,
this trade
Jay,
is
I've been
anything
to
but
the,
a failure.
Jay, I've been to the highest level here. I've been to the atmosphere where people dream to get to, right? That's
Right.
Where, that's where I've been, right? So a playoff win does nothing.
Nothing.
You're a loser.
I don't care about
You're
one
a
playoff
loser.
win.
Yeah.
So your little
But if you're
playoff
gonna
win,
make
your
the
little
biggest-
playoff win,
if
you're
you're
a
gonna
loser, buddy.
So if
All
the
right?
biggest trade in NFL history led to 3 Super Bowls,
Right.
okay?
Yeah.
The second biggest trade in NFL history better at least lead to 1.
I agree.
Okay, thank you.
I agree.
That's all I'm saying.
But
I think we all agree, but I don't agree that it's a terrible trade if he plays great and they win a ton of
The
playoff
object
games.
of the trade was to do what?
What I don't agree with.
Have a chance to win a Super Bowl.
No.
Have
See,
a
the Bull,
yes.
no.
You can't guarantee a Super Bowl.
Guys, hey, hold on.
We gotta go. We gotta go. Go.
No, Bull, you were right. This conversation was way better than I ever
I'm
imagined
always
it
right.
going.
Yeah.
We're going to resume this tomorrow.
Oh, come on.
We have
I won't
to get
even
our
care
sponsors.
tomorrow.
Come on,
We
let's
gotta
go.
get our
We'll
sponsors.
pick it up.
If
All
it-
right, go ahead.
Do your read.
If
Do
it
your
wasn't
read.
sponsored,
Pay
we
the
would let this
bills.
go, but we got to get
Let's go.
Roundstone in.
Go.
We gotta get top 5.
Go.
Let's
We
do
will
it.
resume this in the morning. As always, though, our top 5 today is sponsored by Roundstone Insurance. Roundstone offers a better alternative for affordable quality health care. For more than a decade, Roundstone Insurance has been saving small and mid-sized businesses money, an average of 20%, yet 20%. Contact us today to learn how you can get great health care benefits that your employees will love and save money, too. If we were ranking UCSS segments and arguments, that'd be in the top 5 because that got hot,
and you just
heated,
cut it off.
And I had to. We had to get paid.
Let's go. You're wasting time.
Someone's got to get paid. All right, today
Go.
5 best current NFL uniforms. Let's start with number 5.
I know my number 1.
Cincinnati's black and
Awful.
orange.
Those ain't even good.
These are
What
beautiful.
are you talking about?
These guys are lost as usual. Move on to number
That's
4.
plain as hell.
Awful.
Just plain Jane.
These are current. These are not all time. These are current. They have to be worn in
That's
2022.
it.
Keep coming, Mikey.
Go ahead,
Quit defending yourself.
Come on,
Keep
let's
coming.
go.
All right, number 4. The Falcons' red and black gradient.
Those are terrible.
Those are
Thing of
terrible.
beauty.
Terrible.
It's where the pant melds into the jersey.
That's horrible.
It's like he's pregnant, that player.
Okay, number 3.
Steve, take number 3.
Schemes.
This is coming back this year. The red throwback.
those are
that's tight.
Pat the Patriot.
That's
makes
nice.
his return
Those
this
are good.
year.
Oh, boy.
Jeez, don't be ruining my set. Only Joe Charbonneau can ruin my set.
Do we all agree that the
That's
Patriots
good.
are fire?
That's good.
Very good. Number 2.
All right, New Orleans, all white with the gold
No,
trim.
no,
These things
no,
are
that's
beautiful.
bad.
They pop on
That's
screen.
bad.
No.
My favorite all white.
That's
Every
bad.
team has a version of an all white.
Now we're going
New
with
Orleans is
now we're
popping.
going with
Terrible.
popping on screen.
That's
Number
terrible.
1. This better be my number 1.
Undisputed, the Chargers.
Yes, thank you.
It is the
I
undisputed.
do think it is
undisputed.
undisputed.
How do you not have the Tampa Bay Bucks creamsicle on there?
Guys,
Because it's
they're
not
old one.
current.
Yeah,
These
they're
were
old one.
current. Only current.
Wait a minute, Brad.
Oh, yeah.
Chargers, fire or no? Number 1?
I like the Chargers. I agree with the Chargers.
You know what?
But here, I'm a classic guy. I always think in the top 5. The Browns uniform is the most classic thing
stop.
around here. I do.
No,
I
Browns
love,
are the bottom
it.
5.
I
Listen,
love
when
it.
before LeBron left the second time,
Right.
Yeah.
he was doing a news conference.
Yeah.
And it was hilarious. He said it was all off the record. We couldn't use any of the tape or anything. But he said, guys, you got anything brown and orange in your closet?
No.
And I had to think. I'm like, I got brown shoes. The only brown and orange I have in my closet are Browns-related items. He goes,
No.
you ever leave the house dressed in brown and orange? No. He goes, has anyone ever left their house in brown and orange and
No.
said, I'm going to win the day, I feel great?
No.
And he's right.
Wait, so we're not talking.
We got to go to something else, guys. We got to cut you off. PCC airfoils, right?
Yep, let's switch to PCC airfoils. This is going to lead us into
I was
weigh-in
gonna get into that
Wednesday.
too.
We had a whole separate.
Did we do it?
Yeah,
did.
we did. We had a whole
Okay.
separate What the Internet's Saying. We'll save it for tomorrow. Today for What the Internet is Saying by CC Airfoils comes from Marcus Collins. But first, if you're looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits, PCC Airfoils is the leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Mentor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 an hour and up. Plus, get full paid time off, benefit packages, and a signing bonus. Apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. Shout out to Marcus Collins, one of the most loyal UCSS followers on the interweb. Marcus Collins sends us in his own weight loss challenge every week.
Does he?
He started at 275 today. 263.3 down.
Whoa!
1.5 pounds.
Talk that talk.
Shout out to Mark. He also sends videos of his weigh-in. Marcus,
Does
we
he
love you,
really?
Marcus. Thanks for watching. Thanks
Let's
for
put
tuning
his video
in.
weigh in.
Can we get that video?
We got
Next week.
We got to update how he shoots the video, but we will get at some point Marcus. We'll get Marcus on.
Mike, rapid fire.
It's not Marcus. We'll work with you.
Marcus, put on
We
a
love you,
shirt.
Marcus.
Put on a shirt, and we'll put you on
Mark
TV.
is just weighing in socks.
Rapid fire final thoughts now, right?
He just
Nope,
got,
you got
he
you
got
guys
shirt
weigh in real
socks
quick.
on weighing.
Steve, let's take 106.
And his
This was last week's weigh-in.
loincloth.
All right, wait, let's go. Here we go.
This was last week's stats. Let's take the video
so
of this week,
down
Steve.
18 and down 2.
Yeah.
And here's the new update. We're
Hey,
gonna
I
skip the
won
video.
by staying even. Yay.
He won
moving
by
along.
staying even.
Moving along. Moving along. Best bet.
Nothing to see here. Nothing to
Best
see
bet.
here.
A 0 means you didn't gain weight, Bull. I am proud of you, brother. I'm proud of you.
And you're
Best bet.
still under where you started.
You beat G. Bush this week. G. Bush put on a pound.
beat the
Put on a pound.
I
Best
gained a
bet.
pound, man.
You know what? I haven't seen him in the gym in a while.
Hey, I was there last week.
Slacker.
Had to
All
carry
right,
it.
final takes.
Last
5 minutes.
Wait.
What
good
about
bet,
best
bad
bets? Rapid
Oh,
fire
good
best
bet,
bets.
bad bet. I got to pull it up.
Good
Hold
bet,
on,
bad.
hold on,
I'm
hold
saying
on.
best
Good
bets.
bet,
Good bet,
bad
bad.
bet.
Good bet,
All
bad bet.
Guardians today. Let's see what they were. I'm pulling them up.
I was 2-1 yesterday.
A lot of text this
We got
morning.
some stats.
Let's just put them on the web. Forget it. We'll
No, I gained ground, Bull.
No, we can count them, but just not put the graphic.
I can tell you, Jay went 2-1 yesterday.
Yeah.
Bull went 1-2. It is now G. Bush in first place. You take the standings if you want. Where's Brad's text message? All right, I got the
didn't
bets
pick it.
today.
Here we go.
Cleveland,
Zeros.
1.5 run favorites against the Twins. First
Good
time
bet.
they've been favored in forever.
good bet.
Quantrill versus Bundy.
Good.
Give us a sec. We're pulling them up.
right.
It's 88, Steve. 88. There we go. Take it full. Everyone said good except Bull, who was very negative today.
Really?
Bull.
Wow.
I haven't bet against the Guardians.
And
in a while.
I thought that was negative. 1.5.
It was minus 1.5. Yes.
Yeah, I'm not laying. I can't. Their offense is struggling right now.
12 runs in 6
I
games.
can't lay a run
Horrible.
when they're struggling as much as they
They're
are.
going to bounce out of it big tonight.
They will
Big.
eventually. I don't think tonight.
Okay, what's the
Next
second
one, over 8.5 runs in tonight's game.
Yeah, bad.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. All right, last one.
I like it.
And the last one, will Jose Ramirez end Josh Naylor both reached base tonight.
I thought I'd be the only one that went good on that.
I went good.
I think Ramirez is going to lead this team out of the cellar.
So
that's where they're playing.
They'll turn it around.
Well, he's going to be the guy that gets them out. It happens tonight.
Final thoughts?
Are we doing? Do you want to do final thoughts?
Yeah, real quick.
Yeah, here we go.
Fire.
Okay.
All right,
Good
guys.
test.
Here's the thing, real quick. With the All-Star game voting, this drives me crazy. I hate when people are homers. I don't talk about a loser mentality. Everybody's always mad about participation trophies, yet fans all the time give participation trophies to their own players. I don't vote for my favorite players on my team unless they deserve it. Maybe if it's a tiebreaker, if two guys are basically even, I'll go with the guy I like more. I hate when teams put out, hey, vote for all our guys. Let's vote for Miles Straw. Let's vote for Austin Hedges. Those guys suck. I'm not voting for them for the All-Star game. If you only vote for your own players, you're a loser. Loser mentality. Vote for the best players. That's it.
G. Bush, make it quick.
Yes, man. I'm doing mine for my man Miles right here. Miles told me in my ear what he wanted to talk about. He said, listen, stop putting all of this stuff in the trash can. He said, you guys is doing a lot of stuff with this trash everywhere. You putting the trash up high. He can't get to it. He's a gopher. He want to get to it real quick and easy. Don't be putting it on the curb. Make sure it's not in the trash can. He says, by the way, he prefers banana peels and apples and fruits. If you got some, leave those out for him. He's dealing with a family. There's a recession going on with the groundhogs nowadays. So there's not a lot of.
He's not a raccoon.
No, but he's part of the family. He's part of the family. He got, listen, his girl just gave birth to like 17 gophers. So make sure you get him together. Shout out to him. And by the way, Miles says follow him on Twitter as well.
Does he have a Twitter account now?
McNuggets is going to work on that.
We'll work on it. Brad, you got 45 seconds.
Wow.
Let it rock.
He's our mascot.
Very
not
quick,
a panda.
Very quick
Miles,
here.
He took that.
And I'm being in all serious. I'm an advocate for players being the best they can be, having as long a shelf life as they can. I just have one thing for Baker Mayfield. I just want to say this to you, Baker. You have a chance here, right? And someone needs to make sure that you understand that you have a chance here. And it goes beyond your time here in Cleveland. Because if you need any one person to look at what just happened to Kyrie Irving. He thought he had played himself up to a point that people wanted him. And when it came to the fact that at the end of the day, when he went to the market, there was only one team willing to pay him, and that was the Lakers were willing to pay him $6 million. That's all. There was nobody else that left there standing because they couldn't take the foolishness. The only thing that saved him was his option back to Brooklyn at $30+ million. Don't do that. Play yourself right. Come in here, toe the line, do what it takes. You're going to have a long career in this league. But if you continue on that path, you'll be the next Kyrie Irving.
All right. I'm going to call an audible. I was going to go somewhere, but I'm changing it because I want to have the final word on this. This is the final take, and I get to go last.
Cheater.
You got 40 seconds.
I need 30. The Browns need to win a Super Bowl with Deshaun Watson, or this was a bad trade. There's no other way of looking at it. If you accept that he wins playoff games and goes to a Super Bowl but loses, that's your bar for success, that's fine. That can be your bar for success. My bar for success is second biggest trade in league history. This broke the bank. $230 million guaranteed. Never been anything close to that. 3 first-round draft picks. You're all in. You're Dallas in the Herschel Walker trade. I'm not asking for 3 Super Bowls. I just need 1. And we'll pick this up tomorrow.
My man.
I guarantee you we'll pick this up tomorrow. And I think we need to do a poll. Have we done a UCSS poll yet?
We have 5 seconds. We'll talk about this after.
Let's do a poll. Is this a success if they don't win a Super Bowl?
See you tomorrow.
Back tomorrow at 11.